you need to know to get started. So my goal for everyone attending this webinar today is for you guys to have a little bit of a basic understanding on how PPC works, what is it used for, and how can you go about creating your own campaign and trying it for yourself. So before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about me. My name is Julie Lorson. I am the Director of Marketing Services here at Omniscient, and I have been with Omniscient for over 5 years. It's actually closer to 5.5. I love training and teaching. We just got a bunch of brand new interns in, and I have been spending my time teaching them everything I know, like I'm about to teach you today. And I love Star Wars. If you had the privilege of joining me at my last webinar about SEO, that fun fact was that I love cartoons. So guess what? I also love Star Wars cartoons. So I am a big fan of all things nerdy, if you couldn't tell by my purple hair. I made the joke that I didn't get to dye any Easter eggs, so I decided to dye my hair instead. So let's talk about PPC, or paid search, or Google AdWords, this term that gets thrown around a lot in the terms of marketing and advertising. PPC, or pay per click, is a type of advertising that's used to drive traffic to your website. But instead of manipulating your website to show up in the search engines or on Facebook, what you're doing is you're actually paying a publisher directly. So basically, whatever your publisher is, you can, if that's Google, if that's Facebook, if that's remarketing, which we'll get to all towards the end of this, you're paying them directly. You're saying, hey, Google, I have a website and I want you to show it. And the way that you pay them is you pay per click. Every time someone clicks on your advertisement, you are paying them for that spot. Why should a lawyer use it? Well, the same way I said in my other webinar is if you have a brand new website that you just spent all this money designing and getting up to how you really want it with all this information, well, wouldn't you like people to see it? Wouldn't you like people to go to it? Wouldn't you like to get new clients from it? So the same way you might want to do SEO or search marketing that way, you might want to consider doing paid advertising. And this, when you do paid advertising, there are some certain benefits to it. First and foremost, you can reach your target audience, and I'll discuss what a target audience is in a few seconds. You have full control over your messaging. You get to create the ad. You get to pick what you're focusing on, what you're highlighting. Is it that you have 30 years experience? Is it that you have $1 million in a recent settlement? So you really get to control what is being put out there about yourself. And PPC, it's really easy to connect your ad spend to your return on investment. If you know that your cost per click is $100 and that person who clicked your ad then retained your services, you can really connect the dots to see, hey, this person I spent $100 for this one person. This person ended up spending $500 with me. I just made $400. And it's really fun to see you get that return on investment. And it's a really easy way to follow your lead generation and your lead nurturing. So I want to talk a little bit more about target audience, which I should have created a slide for this, but I didn't. So target audience. So as attorneys, every different type of law has a different target audience. For example, a personal injury attorney, their target audience is anybody that's been injured in a car accident, which is a very wide base in terms of demographic. Whereas estate planning attorneys might have a more niche target audience. They need people that have over $500,000 in assets or $1 million in assets. So depending on what your target audience is, that might inform your choice on what platform to do advertising. When you're using a platform like Google, you can't really control who uses Google. You can pick your demographics, such as what state you're in, what zip codes you want to target, but you can't really choose things like, how old they are, or how much income they make. But on social media platforms, they do have those options of people who are interested in certain things. So depending on what you're, for example, people who are interested in nursing homes might be a really good person to target on social media for estate planning or for personal injury attorneys for that matter. So um, depending on where your target audience lives will inform what platform you might want to consider paying to advertise. So here there are many different types of paid search options. It's not Google or bust, right? There's different types of ads that are on different platforms. And these are the four types of ads or types of paid search options that we kind of handle here at Omniscient that are also very easy for you to do at home as well. So the first one is the one that I think most people know about. It's search ads. This is ads mostly on Google, but Bing, a different search engine, also has search ads. And this is when you put a keyword into Google and on the top of the page, there's a result that says ad next to it. So that person paid Google to show up for that search. And that's something that you could do at home. I'm going to show you how to set it up later. It's something very easy to do and very successful. Local service ads are very similar. You, instead of paying Google per click, you actually pay Google per phone call, hence the phone symbol. And I don't know if you guys have experienced this yet, but when you search for a service such as lawyer or attorney, or even plumber, roofer, there are now Google screened listings on the top of the page that kind of have a mini profile that gives some information about you. And that's also something very easy to set up on your end. Now, the other two, social media advertising and remarketing slash display, these are a little different. These are not search. This is what we call disruptive advertising. And I'm pretty sure you guys have all been hit with you looked at something on Amazon and then that product follows you around to every single website you go to. And then you're like, oh my God, I guess I have to buy this because I'm seeing it everywhere. So social media advertising, when you're scrolling through your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed and you see those ads, that's disruptive because people aren't necessarily on social media to be advertised to, but they're kind of used to the ads being there. And remarketing display, as I said, remarketing is when someone's visit your website, but then they didn't make a purchase or they didn't call you and retain your services. So what you're going to do is the remarketing will follow them around and kind of get your brand name in their face. And they might go, you know what? I am going to retain these attorneys. I am going to retain these lawyers because these people keep showing up everywhere. So this is an example of what a search ad looks like. So as I said, you are searching for an estate planning attorney. This is what the ad looks like. It has a little ad next to it, if you can see my mouse. It has a little picture. It has the messaging that she wants to convey, 30-minute free consultations, individualized. Over here, we have the LSA ads. So as you can see, there is their reviews, a little profile, their open, how long they're open for. This person says that they have 13 years in business. These are Facebook ads and display remarketing ads. So over here, this might be something that you see as you're scrolling through your feed on Facebook. Again, you're in charge of the messaging that you want to portray. So for example, over 50 and unable to work? Well, we're a disability law group. We can help you get benefits, expert advice, caring attorneys, improving lives. So you get to write the ad copy. You get to take what makes you special and put that out there. And then a display ad or a remarketing ad sort of looks like this. It's mostly imagery, but you can still put out copy. For example, 100% of our firm's fees and costs are paid by the automakers. So, they're saying like, there's no risk. We don't get fees from you. So this is an example of an image ad that is used in display or remarketing campaigns. Now, how do you go about deciding what type of paid advertising is best for your firm, because not every strategy works for every law firm. So it depends on really what your goals are. If you're looking to get new clients, if you're looking to have your phone ring, have people fill out the contact form, then you want to participate in search ads and the listing service ads, because how this works is a user is actively searching for services, or actually searching for a law firm, they're searching for attorneys, and you want your ad to appear for these searches. So if you need leads and you need leads now, this would be the route to go down. Social media advertising is all about brand awareness. As we saw in that example, you're scrolling through your news feed and you kind of see, oh, over 15 out of work, disability law. Okay, scroll, scroll, scroll. If you can't see, I'm like scrolling with my finger. But then what if something happens? What if they need disability? They might remember, oh, that ad I saw. Who was that? Oh, disability law group. And then they might come to your website. So social media ads, as I said, it's a form of disruptive advertising. People aren't necessarily on social media to find an attorney, but it's a good way to get your brand name out there. It's a good way to get people to know who they are. And the benefit of social media advertising is that really, really narrow scope of demographic. You can really define your target audience. You can, as I said, age, household income, if personal injury attorneys wanted to target people that are interested in hospitals, there's a lot of different ways that you can go and define that target audience to maybe help with the conversions. But again, it's a form of disruptive advertising. And then the remarketing display is actually a combination of both. As I mentioned before, and I'm pretty sure we've all experienced this, we have definitely all been on Amazon or a different e-commerce site or on another website, browsing, searching, and then suddenly it follows you around to other websites. And it could be annoying. You're like, oh my God, Big Brother is watching me. What's happening? But according to recent statistics, people who come to your website from a remarketing ad have a 70% higher chance of converting than when they originally came. We've all succumbed to it. We've all said, oh no, this place is having a sale. I guess I have to go back, and it can work for attorneys and law firms too. So it can be very beneficial if you are getting traffic to your website, but you see that people aren't calling you or filling out your contact form right away. There is a way to enable remarketing if you qualify, and try to get those visitors to come back, because they'll have a higher percentage of converting than before. So the most common type of paid advertising is the search ads through Google Ads. And this is what we heavily focus on here at Omnizant. As I said, we do all the other ads as well. But if this is something you want to try at home, if this is something you want to try for your law firm, this is a really good way with getting familiar on how to quote unquote pay for advertising on a publisher. So the most common type, as I said, is through Google Ads. And there's not a whole lot you need to do. Obviously, you need to have a Google email. So if your law firm doesn't have Gmail as their main email provider, you might need to create a free Google email. But once you have that, what you're going to do is you're going to create a campaign. So we're going to use me as an example. We're going to say Julie Lorson Law Firm is the name of my amazing brand new law firm that I desperately need clients for. I'm going to create a campaign called Julie Lorson Law Firm Google Ads campaign. Pretty simple. From there, I need to create what's called ad groups. So I'm a law firm. Let's say I'm a family law firm. Okay, well, under family law, there's lots of different services that I offer. I can help with child custody. I can help with child support. I can help with divorce. I also do prenuptial agreements. So for each type of service that you offer, that's going to be your ad group. Then for each ad group, you need to select the keywords or the search terms you'd like for your ads to appear. So, for example, let's say I'm under the child custody ad group. You want to have keywords or search terms like child custody lawyer, child custody attorney. If I'm a dad, can I get child custody? Or, stuff like that. If it's child support, who pays child support? How much child support should I owe? So keywords and search terms are not necessarily one word. It's not like child or custody. It can be anything from child support lawyer all the way to those long tail questions long-term keywords or long tail keywords, whatever you want to call them, like those questions that I just asked. So within each ad group, you need to select the keywords that you'd like your ad to appear for. Then you need to actually create the individual ads. You can't have one ad per ad group, because what if that ad is not doing well? You need to have a variety of ads. You need to have ads that have different copy, that have different information on it. So, when you're doing a print ad in a newspaper, it's one and done. You design one option, they print it, and you're stuck with it. So unlike traditional advertising like print ads, magazine ads, billboards, radio spots, you can actually create different types of ads and see what's working and not working and adjust accordingly. Complete your ad extensions. So ad extensions means put your phone number, put free consultation, put important links like your FAQs. So when they give you the opportunity to create your ads, you want to make sure you're taking advantage of all of the fields that they tell you to fill out, because ads that have the most information are probably going to get clicked on more than ones that don't. For example, we looked at that LSA ad where one person said that they were in business for 13 years, where the other two didn't have any information like that on their ad. Well, I'm more inclined to click on the guy that said that they were in business for 13 years because they took the time to fill in that field. And then the last step that you need to do is you need to determine a budget. You can't just create your ads and then not put any money behind it, because the whole point is that we are paying Google to display these ads for these specific search terms. So before we even get to how to determine a budget, which we will in a few minutes, we need to figure out what are the best keywords. And I kind of touched upon this before, but there are 3 match types that Google uses. There's something called broad, phrase, and exact. So I'm actually going to skip to the next slide. So broad, this is so let's say your keyword is car accident lawyer. So a broad match type would mean your ad's going to show up for queries or searches for those long tail keyword phrases. What to do in a car accident, what is an accident attorney. It's very broad. If Google sees any combination of car, accident, and lawyer in a search, it's going to bring your ad up. There's something called phrase match, which when you're putting these search terms into your ad campaign, you want to put these in quotation marks because that's what makes it a phrase. So this means they'll take car accident lawyer and anything that comes before or after they'll take into consideration. So for example, New York car accident lawyer, free car accident lawyer, best car accident lawyer, or accident attorney car crash, something like that. Then the exact, which is brackets, they will show up for that exact match. So if someone puts in car accident, you're going to show up for car accident lawyer, car accident attorney, because lawyer and attorney are actually interchangeable within Google. So that is the 3 match types. So it's really important when you're setting up the keywords you want to show up for that you select between broad, phrase, or exact. Obviously, we all want to show up for exact because if people are searching for an attorney, you want to make sure that you're there. But even before we come up with the budget, we need to talk about something important. We need to talk about your quality score. So one would think, oh, if I'm willing to spend the most money, Google will put my ad up. And it used to be like that, but things have changed. Now there's something called the quality score. So the quality score, it's a tool within Google Ads that compares your ad to other advertisers. And it takes into consideration ad itself, how many people click on those types of ads, and what it's like when they come to your website or your landing page. Because when people click on your ad, you need to bring them somewhere. So Google actually takes in consideration where you're bringing them to. If Julie Lorson Law Firm has a child custody ad, but I send them to a prenuptial agreement page, that's not good because that doesn't match what the person is searching. So my quality score is going to be low. It goes from a scale from 1 to 10. We obviously want to hit a 10. So if I have a child custody ad, I want that ad to go to a child custody page, and I want to get my quality score as high as possible, which would be a 10. So the thing is, if your PPC campaign doesn't have a good quality score, keywords that might cost my competition not a lot of money because their quality score is good is going to cost me more because I kind of have to pay Google to look the other way and kind of ignore the fact that my quality score is bad. I know that sounds weird, but at the end of the day, we don't want to be spending money that we don't have to be spending. So the best way to go about doing that is making sure your quality score, that your landing page, that the copy in your ad are as relevant to the keywords that you're trying to appear for as possible. So if I, again, am creating an ad for child custody, I want my landing page to be about child custody. I want to make sure that landing page has a ton of information. I want to make sure my ad copy talks about how I can help obtain child custody, file for child custody, modify child custody, and all the things that I could possibly do to get my quality score up. So now how do we determine our budget? Great. My quality scores are all 10s. I've created all the ad copy, all of those things. Well, how much do I pay Google? What do I do? So the best way is to use Google's keyword planner within Google Ads. And based on the data that you can find in the keyword planner, you kind of follow this simple formula. So you take the potential volume of clicks. So I'm going to pick easy numbers so I can multiply in my head. So let's say for child custody lawyer, I can expect 100 clicks, right? What is the average cost per click? Again, picking easy number, I'm going to pick 10, which is very low, and that's not a direct quote. But again, for the sake of simplicity, I will need to, at the very, very least, spend $1,000 a month just for my child custody ad. So I hope everybody follows that. So again, you can see in the keyword planner how many volume of clicks that you're expected to get per month. So 100. The average cost per click, according to the keyword planner, is $10. So therefore, my budget should be $1,000 because I want to get, doing math, right? Yeah. So if I have $1,000 and 100 people come, hopefully all 100 people click on my ad and I spend all of my $1,000. But wait, it's not as simple as that, right? You can't just pick a budget and kind of go with it. Of course, everything needs to be more complicated than it should. But what is a PPC bid? Why is it important? We kind of know what our monthly budget needs to be. We know we need $1,000, but how do we use that $1,000 in the most efficient way? Because your budget's 1,000, but your competitors might be 5,000. So obviously they're going to show up more than your 1,000 times. You might get all of your clicks, but if you don't maximize your budget, you might blow through that in the first 3 days of the month. So we need to figure out how do we use that budget efficiently. So the way that it works in Google Ads is you place a bid. You tell Google, I'm willing to pay at most. If you say the average cost per click is $10, I'm willing to pay at most 12. You tell them I'm willing to pay 12 for this, so my competitor who may only be willing to pay 10, I appear before them. Because if you search something, there's multiple ads listed, but obviously the ad that's closest to the top is the one that most people click on. So how do we make sure that our ads appear at the top of the search engine page, that our ads are the first ad that comes up? It's not as simple as just flat out paying Google. It's calculating how much you're willing to pay for that lead. So maybe you're willing to pay $12 instead of 10, with the intent that Google will say, all right, well, they're willing to pay 12, we're going to list them first. So it's not just your bid. There's other things that Google does take into consideration on where your ad ranks, so AKA ad rank. So what they do, and again, this is a very simple formula and it's not 100% accurate, but it's the best way of looking at it, is they take your max bid, so let's say 12, and they times it by your quality score, which hopefully is a 10. So your ad rank is 120. And now obviously we can't tell what your competitors are doing, but if their max bid is only 11 and their quality score is 10, then their ad rank is 110. So therefore your 120 is going to outrank their 110. So that's kind of how the ad ranks, or where your ad shows up within the search is determined. So you need to think, when you're creating your budget, I know I said $1,000, but I'm willing to spend 12. Maybe my budget needs to be 1,200, not 1,000. So that is something to keep in mind as well when you are determining your budget. You need to figure out, well, how much are you willing to pay to make sure that you appear above your competitors? What? Okay, we've determined our budget. We have our ad copy set up. We have our ad set up. We have our ad groups. We have our campaign. Do we set it and forget it? The long answer to that is absolutely not. This is not a set it and forget it kind of advertising. You can adjust your keyword bids, bidding strategies, budgets, schedule. For criminal defense lawyers, they might want to have their ads appear 24/7. They usually, most criminal defense attorneys have a way of contacting you 24/7, whereas business law attorneys might only want their ads showing Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So that might adjust what your max bid is, because even though Google said the monthly is 1,000, if you're only running it for 20 days out of the 30 days, your max bid can increase because you're not doing it over the 30 days. So best to have a calculator when you're trying to figure out what your budget is. But there's different bidding strategies. As I said, if you're only running it the 20 days, you can have a higher daily bid than someone who wants to do it 30 days. So you could also adjust individual keywords. If you notice that a specific keyword is bringing in a lot of clicks, you might want to put more money behind that specific keyword than some of the keywords that you're using that aren't getting clicks. You also can improve quality scores. Ideally, everybody starts off with a 10, but what if yours doesn't? What if it's a 9? What can you do to improve your quality score? Do you need to contact us and have us rewrite that page? Do you need to change the design? What can you do to make your quality score better? A/B test and ad copy. So maybe one ad that has free consultation has a better click-through rate than one that doesn't. What ads are getting those clicks? Also, you can A/B test the landing page. So sometimes, again, using Julie Lorson Law Firm as an example, I might want to send them to the child custody page, but what if I sent them to my home page? Or what if I sent them to the About Julie page? What are those quality scores? Is that helping? Is that getting a better click-through rate? Is that leading to more conversions? Because it's one thing for them to click through to your website, but then are they actually calling you? Are they actually picking up the phone? Are they actually filling out the contact form? So that's something to also test. Create a negative keyword list. And this is really important. And this is something that if you do set up a PPC campaign, that I highly recommend that you do, even before you launch that campaign, is create a negative keyword list. And a negative keyword list is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It means that we're going to find keywords that we do not want our ad to show up for. For law firms and attorneys, one of the things that we always like to put in a negative keyword list is without a lawyer. Like, we why would we want our ad to show up for someone who's searching to do something without a lawyer? For example, people might want to create their estate plan on Zoom or Zune, whatever it was called. And we would never recommend that. Of course, we want them to contact an estate planning attorney, but if they're searching to do it without a lawyer, that means they don't want legal services. So you want to make sure that you think of things that you don't want your ad to appear for, because that's just a waste. And then once you get the hang of Google AdWords, you can kind of take what take what ads are doing well, and sort of apply that to other PPC platforms like Facebook. You can enable remarketing, and you can kind of, hopefully, once you're getting that ROI and connecting the dots of how your firm is making money, take that and move it to a different platform and try your hand at that. So hopefully I didn't confuse you too much, and you have the confidence that you can go in and create a campaign and pick some keywords and try to write an ad or two and take a stab at setting up a Google AdWords campaign. And the benefit of doing it on your own is you have full control of your ad spend. If you want to run it for 4 days and stop it, if you want to increase it, decrease it, you have full control over it. You know exactly how much money you're spending, etc. But the benefits of working with an agency, specifically Omniscient, is that, first of all, you're saving a lot of time. If you spend 3 hours tweaking your Google Ads campaign, that's 3 hours that you're not able to bill any of your clients. So we're saving you time. And we also provide professional campaign management, and we constantly refine your plan or your campaign for optimal results. So one, we know what we're doing, and we know we have a negative keyword list that we always start out with. We know what keywords to target that do well. We know how to A/B test. We know how to make adjustments on the fly if we see something isn't working. We know how to best divvy up the ad spend for different types of ads. So, for example, if you're a family law attorney and you have a budget of $3,000, we know how to best split that into custody, support, and divorce, let's say. We provide reporting and insights every single month, so you know exactly how your campaign is performing. And because we're official Google partners, this sometimes allows us to get access to new features ahead of the public that give us more insight on how to best benefit you and how to get the most out of your campaign. So, does anybody have any questions for me? Any concerns? Did I go too fast? I know there's a lot of information to take in, so I do appreciate your